I got put in a charity date auction as a joke. My sister's best friend wouldn't stop bidding. The moment the auctioneer said my name, I knew my friends had officially gone too far. Ladies and gentlemen, our next bachelor is Daniel Carter. 300 people turned toward the stage. I was standing beside a charity table, holding a glass of water, completely confused. Then I heard my best friend Jake laughing from our table. My sister Emily was laughing too. I pointed at them. "You've got to be kidding me." The auctioneer smiled. Daniel is 29, single, works too much, and according to his sister, has absolutely no idea how to flirt. The ballroom exploded with laughter. I wanted to disappear. I had agreed to help with a charity fundraiser. Somehow, my friends had secretly entered me into a charity date auction. The auctioneer raised his microphone. "Let's start at $500. A woman raised her paddle. $600. Another person raised theirs. $700. I shook my head. This is insane. Then a calm voice came from across the room. $2,000. Everyone turned. So did I. My heart stopped. It was Sofia. My sister's best friend. She was sitting at a table near the back, holding her bidding paddle like she had just ordered dessert. I walked toward her. "Sofia, what are you doing?" She smiled. "Supporting charity." "You just bid $2,000. $3,000. I stared at her. The auctioneer looked delighted. $3,000. "Do I hear 4? A businessman near the front raised his paddle. $4,000. Sofia immediately raised hers. $5. The crowd started cheering. I whispered, "Please stop." She looked directly at me. "No." The businessman raised his paddle again. $6,000. Sofia didn't even blink. $10,000. Silence. Then the ballroom erupted. The auctioneer slammed his gavel. "Sold." Everyone applauded. I stood there in disbelief. Sofia walked toward me. "You're officially my date." I lowered my voice. "You just spent $10,000 on me." She shook her head. "On the charity." "And the date?" "That was the bonus." I laughed. "You're unbelievable." She smiled. "You're welcome." For the next week, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Sofia had always been part of my life. She had known me since I was 19. She'd been at family dinners, birthdays, holidays, and every embarrassing story my sister could remember. But I'd never thought of her as someone I could date. She was Emily's best friend. There were rules. Unspoken rules. And apparently, Sofia didn't care about them anymore. Our date was Saturday night. I expected coffee or a casual dinner. Instead, Sofia picked me up wearing a simple black dress. She looked at me. "You're staring." I wasn't. "You were." I was thinking. "Dangerous." I laughed. We went to a quiet restaurant overlooking the river. For the first 30 minutes, we talked about everything except the auction. Then Sofia put down her glass. "Ask me." "Ask you what?" "Why I bid $10,000. I looked at her. "Fine." "Why?" She took a breath. "Because I didn't want anyone else to win." I felt my heart beat faster. "Sofia. I've liked you for a long time." I stared at her. "How long?" She smiled nervously. "Long enough that I stopped counting." "But you're Emily's best friend." "I know. And I'm her brother." "I know that too." "Then why didn't you say anything?" "Because I was afraid." "Of what?" "Of losing both of you." I didn't know what to say. She looked down at the table. I figured if I told you and you didn't feel the same way, things would become awkward. You'd avoid me. Emily would notice. And eventually, I'd lose the two people I cared about most. I reached across the table. What if I told you I've liked you too? She looked up. You're joking. No. How long? I smiled. Probably a couple of years. Her eyes widened. Then why didn't you tell me? Same reason. She laughed. So we're both idiots. Apparently. After dinner, we walked along the river. The city lights reflected across the water. Sofia stopped. Daniel? Yeah. If this is just because of the auction, you can tell me. I shook my head. It isn't. I reached for her hand. She looked down at our fingers. Then she smiled. I've wanted to do that for years. I smiled. Me too. We stood there quietly. Then she leaned closer. And for the first time, I kissed my sister's best friend. It wasn't dramatic. There were no fireworks. Just two people finally admitting the truth. The next morning, I walked into Emily's kitchen. Sofia was already there. My sister looked at both of us. Then she sighed. Oh, finally. I froze. You knew? Emily rolled her eyes. Daniel, I'm your sister. Sofia has been in love with you forever. Sofia covered her face. Emily. What? You weren't supposed to tell him. Emily laughed. I was waiting for one of you to grow up. I looked at my sister. You're okay with this? She walked over and hugged Sofia. Of course. Then she pointed at me. But if you hurt her, you're going to regret it. I nodded. Fair. Sofia smiled. Everything suddenly felt easy. The charity auction that had started as a cruel joke had turned into the best thing that ever happened to me. My friends had wanted to embarrass me. Instead, they accidentally pushed two people together who had been too scared to take the first step. A month later, Sofia and I went back to the same charity event. The auctioneer recognized us immediately. He grabbed the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, our famous $10,000 couple has returned. Everyone laughed. Sofia looked at me. Should I bid on you again? I smiled. Only if you're planning to keep me. She took my hand. I already am. And that was the night I learned something I'd never forget. Sometimes the worst joke your friends can play on you can become the greatest surprise of your life. Sometimes love doesn't arrive with a perfect plan. Sometimes it arrives unexpectedly. Under bright lights. In front of hundreds of people. With someone raising a paddle and refusing to stop bidding. And sometimes, the person everyone thinks is just your sister's best friend turns out to be the person you've been waiting for all along.